Alright guys, welcome back again to the channel. Happy Sunday to everyone in the community. I hope you guys are having a nice time. So today is actually very slow in terms of the Super Eagles update, but there is one or two stories here coming out that they're actually interesting. And one is about Awoniyi Dele, of course, the former left back for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. He played during his days. I think that was early 2000, and he was very, very good. He had a lot of quality, and made a couple of impressive appearances for the Super Eagles. But he's not come out now to hit out at NFF, and said that NFF actually abandoned him at the time that he needed them the most. That is when he had injury. When he was introduced into the squad, he was relatively young. He was maybe the youngest player during that period. And he said that it was quite overwhelming because he was seeing the likes of JJ Okocha, Kanu, Babangida, and all these guys, that he was starstruck. But again, where he grew up from, he said he was born and bred in Ajegunle, so he always had that courage and that confidence to play, with people that are even his senior. So that was how he began playing with the team, and also he was showing his quality, and at some point he broke into the first team. But he said that the NFF hit him, or the NFF happened to him, when all of a sudden he picked up an injury and they left him like that without really attending to him. And he had to use his own personal money to be treating himself, which was why the story came out some time ago, that he was actually broke and that he was evicted from his home in Festac. But he's come out to now say that, to now clarify it, stating that he was not really broke, but he left the Festac area because of some things. He wanted to avoid some people who were close to him and who were not really adding any value or positives to his life. So that was why he left here. And then he also came out to accuse the NFF of recklessness in the 1997 FIFA Under-17 World Cup, which Nigeria was supposed to partake in. But because of the NFF's recklessness, they were disqualified. And he said that the NFF actually forgot the players' passport when they went to play the qualifiers in against Benin Republic in Ibadan. It's actually a home match, but the NFF forgot the passports in Lagos, and for that reason FIFA disqualified Nigeria, and it was very painful, for the whole team. But at the end of the day, they all missed out because of NFF's inability to run things properly. I'm just going to read a couple of things that he said. He said a lot of things, when he had this interview with Son, but the things that he said concerning this 1997 FIFA World Cup meets. He said, like I said, my journey started at Navy Barrack, where we trained as young players. Finally discovered me and brought me into the national team setup. We then went to play the Meridian Cup in 1997, January/February. We won, and it was the first ever Meridian Cup. After that, I returned to Nigeria and signed for Bender Insurance. Funny, Amon was invited by Henry Nwosu to watch us train at Ajegunle. At that time, Fanny was the Under-17 national team coach. This was in 1995. He watched us and picked me. That was how I joined the Under-17 national team that was supposed to play the FIFA Under-17 World Cup in 1997. Unfortunately, when we were about to play a qualifying game against Benin Republic in Ibadan, the Nigerian FA forgot our passport in Lagos, so we were disqualified for that reason. That was how we missed the Under-17 World Cup in 1997. So this is just one of the many key points that he made in this interview. If you want to read out the whole interview, you can go to the Sun. He made a lot of points here, but I just wanted to pick out these ones that are vital. I just wanted to react to it. And of course, if you just take a look at what he said here, you would know that the NFF had been having issues since the beginning of time. So it's not like they just started now, and obviously this is definitely a call to the NFF working on themselves. We heard talks about NFF putting heads together with the Super Eagles, Kucharik Shell, trying to get the best team for the AFCON, and also they are trying to see how they can perform a sort of review on the national team to correct some things that are not right. Especially coming from the disappointment of not qualifying to the World Cup 2026. But they themselves, are they really working in within themselves, make sure that they are also improving? Because if you hear from the mouths of all these ex-players, from years past, they always have one or two complaints about the NFF. They always have bad things to say about the NFF. For me, I just think this is a call to NFF to actually set things right. At least the mistakes in the past cannot be corrected. They can't go back and correct it. But at least going forward, they have to make sure that they are also doing things right themselves. Not just you blame the players or you blame the coach or this is that. The federation also needs to step up. Mikel is convinced that these people need to be disbanded. He feels that they should be let go so that fresh ones will come in. But I mean, wouldn't it still be the same story? But again, let's just talk about some things, some other things here in the update. Of course, we have a couple of players who might be making a move this January because of their inconsistent game time in their club side. Talk about Taiwo Awoniyi, who is now a player that Werder Bremen have now started making inquiry from Nottingham Forest about his possible move this January. Of course, Awoniyi hasn't really settled well. He's not the first, neither is he the second nor the third choice. In this Nottingham Forest side. And the last game that they played, that they won Liverpool 3-0, is not even among the squad. And that just shows you how bad it is for him. So he's looking at going to join Victor Boniface, at Werder Bremen in January. Hopefully this one works out, and hopefully he get what he wants, which is obviously some playing time. And then there's another player who might be on the move this January, and that person is Fisayo Dele Bashiru. Lazio are looking to offload him potentially this January, and there have been a couple of interested clubs from from Serie A, and then there's also Sunderland from the Premier League, and it's going to be interesting to see whether he makes that move. For me, I'm going to want him to make that move to Sunderland so that we can watch him week in, week out. Obviously the EPL is the best league in the world, and obviously everybody wants to play in it. But that's the updates right now. Of course, thanks for watching, and more stories coming later.